This is macaroni and cheese. A humble dish with a fascinating story that's often left untold. It can be traced back to an enslaved cook at Monticello, whose name was James Hemings. Today I'm making this dish in homage to his legacy and memory, one fraught with contradictions and complexity. I'll show you a bit of the man, the French-inspired techniques, and the simple ingredients that come together to perfect this. Things that make the recipe richer and the story more honest. This is the second offering in my Recipes for Resistance series. One dish, one moment, each month. How people feed each other through pressure, protest, and change. Let's get started. April 16th is DC Emancipation Day, remembering the abolition of slavery in the U.S. Capitol, months before the Emancipation Proclamation. And I choose that date because it's important here when we're looking at the life of James Hemings, who took his own personal path to freedom through negotiation and determination. James Hemings was born into slavery in Virginia in 1765. He was mixed race, older brother to Sally Hemings, and half brother to the wife of his enslaver. I tell you that for the context, to understand the brutal world that he and his family were born into. One of kinship, coercion, inheritance, ownership, and power, all tangled up together. He was sent to Paris by his enslaver to learn the art of French cooking, not because it was in his interests, not because it's something he chose to do. While there, he mastered French cooking, sauces, flavors, and he became an accomplished chef, head cook of a diplomatic household. France mattered in other ways too. Living there, he not only learned the language, mastered French pastries, but he also became aware that his bondage was not a foregone conclusion. Now, there's nothing in the historical record that says he tried to get his freedom there. But when he returned to Virginia, he negotiated and bargained for it. I think France gave him, and Paris in particular, gave him a glimpse of another possibility for his life, one of freedom. It's now time to salt this water and start to get our pasta on. Once that comes up to the boil, we'll add our pasta. This is a very straightforward recipe. Now, I can't say it's based entirely on his, but it is something he may have done. And as soon as it starts to boil, it's bubbling now, we'll add in our pasta. You know, despite James being a man of undeniable skills, his life was still controlled by someone else. That is, until he decided to do something about it. Now, add our macaroni, added our pasta, and we want to cook that this side of al dente because it's going to finish off in the oven. In the acknowledged surviving archive at Monticello, there is a mention written in the enslaver's hand of a line dressed as macaroni. Just give that a stir. Make sure our pasta is not sticking. That will go for about 8 minutes. That line matters, but it's still only a trace. It tells you that this dish existed, but it doesn't tell you who judged it, who made the sauce, who added the seasoning, the flavoring, and it doesn't tell you who's worth remembering. The part of James's story that sticks with me most is the bargain he struck. He did not simply wait for his freedom. He negotiated for it. Now, the terms were harsh and exact. He had to return to Virginia and train someone in the household in the skills that he had acquired. And that person, that cook, was his brother, Peter. Only then would he be free. He bargained for his freedom and he won it. Yet even that freedom had to be purchased by passing his skills on under the bondage that he had endured. As soon as this is ready, we will drain it. We won't rinse it. We want some of that starch to remain. And then we'll start to make our roux. Okay, our pasta has been drained and it is just sitting, waiting for our roux, which we'll go on and make now. A roux is melted butter and flour that is cooked together to form a paste. The flour starts to brown, and then you'll add milk. Now, a roux is certainly a sauce, well, the basis for a sauce that James knew well, as he certainly would have learned this in France. And we are going to let this butter melt, and then we'll add our flour. We'll add some salt. I have cayenne pepper, paprika, smoky paprika, some white pepper, and some nutmeg, and I have some grated and cubed cheese. We're going to make a cheese sauce to combine with our cooked pasta. You can't have mac and cheese without the cheese. Okay, that's melted, and I'm going to add in our flour. And we'll start to just stir that together. So brother to brother, the bargain had been struck, and he had to teach those skills. But it was more than just an obligation. It was knowledge with value. It was skill with power. And it was something that could change a life. So you'll see that the flour starts to brown, starts to take on a bit of color. And we just want to keep cooking that until we don't have that flour taste anymore. I'm just going to add some salt, about a half a teaspoon. We've got salt in the cheese, so I do want to be careful. So our roux is ready for the milk. But before I do that, I'm going to add in our cayenne, our paprika. This is going to give a good color. Our white pepper. And I'm going to grate in some of our nutmeg. Even nutmeg isn't without its troubles. It's one of those spices that was in demand and resulted in violence and exploitation. So here in our pot, what we choose has a history. Now in goes our cold milk. I'm just going to do that a part at a time, and it starts to seize up, but it will work its way looser. And we just add some more milk, little by little. And we cook our bechamel, our roux, the basis for our sauce. Okay, that's starting to look pretty good. We'll add just a bit more milk and continue to stir that together until it becomes smooth. And then we'll add in our cheese. James Hemings gained his freedom in 1796. And what should have seemed like a full, unlabored breath wasn't. No, freedom's never simple. It's not safety. It's not the end of contradiction and complexities. I add some more milk. And continue to stir that and just cook our sauce until we've got in all of our milk. That's a liter of milk I'm using. You could use a little less, a little more, depending on the consistency you're after. Remember, this is going to go into the oven and bake. So we want it to not be too thick. We do want it smooth, and that is looking beautiful. The record after that point becomes thinner and more restless. He travels, he works, he considers moving to Spain. He tried to make a career as a free chef in a country that seldom made room for a free man of color to live within the skills he possessed. And this is where I start to wonder, what must it have felt like to gain one's freedom and to know that your siblings and other relatives were still enslaved? To return to work beside them, knowing you were free to leave and they weren't. I cannot know his thoughts, but I believe that weighed heavily upon him. This is the last bit of our milk going in. And now I'm going to add our cheese. And just going to add it all at once. As I say, I've grated some and cubed some. All of the ingredients, as usual, you can find on my website, and follow the link in the description box below. So we'll just let that heat gently and melt through gently. Okay, our cream sauce is almost ready. Just a couple more minutes, and then we'll add it to our pasta and into our casserole and into our hot oven. You know, there's one more detail that I don't want to lose sight of. In 1801, word was sent to James that his former enslaver wanted him back. And James did not accept right away. Instead, he asked for a direct letter in the hand of the man be sent to him with the terms, conditions, and the wages. And that may seem a small detail, but it says a lot. He was insisting that his terms were met, that as a free man of color, he wanted that respect. It doesn't mean his freedom became easy. No, it just means he refused to be approached as a commodity, as a thing to be sent for. He was a free man, and he expected to be addressed as one. Okay, I think it's time now to add our sauce to our pasta. And I know it seems like a silly step, but I want to make sure we get it all in there, first of all. Oh, it smells great. And that it's well combined with our macaroni. Ooh, I know already this is going to be good. Just have a look at that. Beautiful. Cheesy. Great color. Okay. I'm going to actually grab a spatula so that I can get every bit of this into our prepared casserole dish. And it's a deep 13 by 9 casserole, and it's been buttered so that this beautiful macaroni and cheese will come out easily. So in it goes. Ooh. And we're not finished yet. In order to ensure we get a nice cheesy crust on top, I'm going to add, you guessed it, more cheese. Okay, just going to sprinkle the remaining cheese on top of our dish. I don't want to lose any. And we are going to cook this, bake it, until that top starts to brown and it becomes bubbly around the edges. And we've just got a little bit of give, a wobble, still in the middle. So in it goes into our hot oven. While we're waiting for our macaroni and cheese to bake, here's a little bit more about James Hemings. You know, his life was brilliant. It was difficult. He gained his freedom, but he did not get long to live inside of it. In 1801, in Baltimore, at age 36, he died at his own hand. I don't want to smooth that away. His end was untimely and painful. But it belongs to the story because it belongs to the man. The explanation passed along at the time was that he drank too much. That answer seems painfully thin to me. What seems clearer is that freedom without equality, without safety, without solid ground is not a simple triumph. What survives his life is not just a recipe, nor is it an archival footnote. What survives is a dish that made its way into American kitchens and stayed there. Now it's so familiar that it gives a quiet comfort to everyone who enjoys it. It's a culinary tradition sustained by self-determination, resilience. It's shaped by skill and craft, and carried forward by people who refuse to let their authorship be erased. It's time to get our macaroni and cheese out of the oven. Oh, look at that. Look at that. This is why I wanted macaroni and cheese for DC Emancipation Day. Not because it's rare, because it's ordinary, because it has lasted. So we need to let this rest for about 10 or 15 minutes. We don't want it piping hot when we serve it, and it just helps that to set. And so it's a bit easier to handle and portion out. And then we'll give it a taste. It smells amazing. Looks great. We've let this rest. Now it's time to serve it up. Ooh. And it has set. Oh, this is going to be good. Get this piece out of here. Oh, wow. Look at that. That is beautiful. Can't beat that. Just smells wonderful. We've got our cheese crust on top. It's creamy below. Oh, it just smells fantastic. Well, it's time to taste it. Let's see what it tastes like. It's delicious. Get a bit of the paprika, just a touch from the cayenne. But that is beautiful. I think the top's my favorite bit. A simple dish with a profound history. So when I make this dish, I'm thinking about Peter Hemings and his life, what he accomplished, what he didn't, what he's left behind. I think about his family, Sally, his brother Peter, his niece Edith Fawcett, all who lived incredible lives in very difficult circumstances, but yet they managed to persevere. They carried on not just this recipe, but their determination and their self-respect. I think about that whenever I'm having macaroni and cheese. Well, thank you for joining me today at Gary's Urban Larder. If you enjoyed today's recipe, please give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel. It's free. And ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single delicious recipe. And finally, please share this video with a friend. It helps to make our community grow. And if you see a hype button, please hype me. It really does help the channel out. Until next time, bye-bye. Thank you, James. Still giving comfort. Still reaching our tables.